Hey guys, and welcome to the TCC podcast, where we discuss everything coffee.
Hi guys, welcome back to the TCC podcast. This is our second episode. Mr. Costa is joining us, and we are going to have a very, very interesting conversation today.
Most definitely. Yes.
But we'll start it on a lighter note with the coffee that we're drinking today.
What the light roast coffee is.
Yes, the light roast coffee on the litepaper episode. So we're using organic paper for this episode. No, I'm kidding. You'll understand some light paper a little bit later. But let's start with
Let's keep it light.
The coffee
what's
and cup.
in the coffee.
Yes.
So the coffee that we're having is from I'm guessing it's Genovese Roasters. Their specialty division, and we've tasted this coffee before, and
The roaster of this before.
I mean
You've tasted the Ecuador.
not on the episode. We've
you
tasted
mean
this coffee
me and
before.
you have tasted this
Yes,
coffee
we've tasted
before,
this coffee before. Not on the episode.
You must specify.
Give me a chance.
Sorry, man.
Man, you guys are like a metro cop jumping out to arrest you before you even start the car because you're not wearing your seatbelt.
There we go.
You guys are wild.
But anyway, so the
Sorry.
coffee that we're having
light.
is from Colombia. We had Colombia again today. From Huila El Rosal. So I thank Jose who helped me just with the pronunciation that it's not an H, we pronounce it as a W. So I'm guessing it's Huila.
Yes.
It is a Cultura varietal.
Mr. Theo's favorite.
So we've had now on this episode, and then on the previous episode that we recorded, we had one of your favorites.
Yeah.
Now we have touching where Theo finds his happy place.
Oh yeah. Let's see if
and
Christian got it.
This is a washed process, and very, very interesting coffee. It's an older coffee, so we went a little bit finer on grind, about 80 or even 88 degrees Celsius, and pulled it in 4 minutes 30 seconds.
And no one's tasted the coffee.
No one's tasted the coffee.
So let's go at this.
Yeah, so let's taste it. Let's see if we can get reaction.
Sorry.
Man, that is so sweet.
Very nice.
I would have liked to go 2 degrees colder.
Yo, it is
I had
extremely
that. I told you that my gut feel told me that 88, like I didn't have a nice feel about it. It's got a center of the tongue that I don't enjoy.
Add a bit more water.
No, but to say also, we know that for me, a sweet spot in coffee is at the center of the tongue.
Umami.
I
yes.
want that umami element. That for me is what brings out the best in coffee. Well, for me, and this one just doesn't have that like.
So this
kind
for
of-
me is that spunky Burundi acidity.
Okay, which is funny from Colombia, but yes. So that is the coffee that we're having today. The notes that they give us it's supposed to have a creamy mouthfeel, and it is. It's nice and thick and creamy and so on. But the brown sugar sweetness, I think that's very accurate. I recently actually just chowed clean brown sugar to kind of just re-educate myself on why people want it, and I can honestly tell you I was not enlightened. I was actually just appalled by what it tastes like. But that's what you want, sure. But I do enjoy that element in coffee. With notes of blackberry, plum, vanilla, and a clean apple-like acidity.
Definitely a lot of blackcurrant.
Yeah, so we're definitely getting that blackcurrant. It does not have that plummy kind of element that hangs in the mouth, and it does have kind of a vanilla dryness as well.
Yeah, definitely going down the throat. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
We just drink it, man.
yeah.
We just
Drink and enjoy.
no, we just enjoy the coffee, man.
I love how we have our different kinds of coffee drinkers at the table.
Ristretto drinker sitting here in the middle
Yes.
every single morning, not tasting any flavors, just really appreciating the
want
cup.
Yeah, their flavor is
Just one
intense.
touch.
Pizza.
Yeah, which I felt that
Well,
one.
to be fair, when you mention it, then it's like, okay, I guess I could taste that, but you guys are able to identify it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
We
where
just had more practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do taste more coffee than you guys on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Let's be honest.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah?
So how many cups of coffee
Are you
have
really
you
going
had
into
today?
this?
Like really, how many cups of coffee have you had today?
Today, a bunch.
Yes.
I was at the shop today, so
Bunch.
Okay, so
maybe like 10.
okay, I've tasted 29 espressos and 4 other brews.
Oh, but I've had full 10 cups of coffee.
I tasted 26 smoothies, of which 19 of them had espresso. But I don't know. That's kind of where I find myself in training.
What
now.
I'm trying to say is that I don't necessarily think it's practice. I think that you guys are definitely gifted.
No, but
with
remember,
what you're able to do.
drinking a cup of coffee and tasting a cup of coffee is not the same thing.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
also, let's
Okay,
get
on a lighter note.
let's
On
get
the
to
lighter
let's get down to business on a lighter note. So the topic that we're actually discussing today is the light paper of the TC coin.
That's it.
And I have to say, I think we really need to say just the coffee coin, because
Yeah.
we started saying the TCC coin,
Coin, yes.
and now we're saying the TC coin, which is the coffee coin. So the T being so the coffee coin.
I love how this bothers you so much.
It does, it really does.
The
Like,
grammar
Semantics.
the coffee coin.
The
I'm
grammar
pedantic. That's fine.
We know.
But we're going into the light paper. So we're going to go into, I think, just a summary of like the full detail of obviously what the project is going to be about, what is the foundation of it is, and also just what.
The why, the how,
Yes.
the purpose behind, the coffee coin. And because we have our expert at the table, we can obviously go slightly deeper into, some of the ideas that we have
Yeah.
that the coffee coin is going to be, pushing. So I would also say today's episode is purely to bring purpose to the table.
Yeah.
We have been pushing on social media to try and grow the community,
Yeah.
the coffee community, or the caffeine community, as we are. That's our handle, and we've noticed that there's obviously a lot of reaction on social,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but not always the reaction that we driving to see.
Yes.
Sometimes the reaction is that what are you guys doing? Like, what's the purpose behind this? And so this specific episode is for that purpose.
Yeah.
It is to bring to the table why we're doing this, what's the purpose behind it, how we're going to be implementing a lot of the things, and what the dream is for the coffee world in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, on that note, I would say, I think let's jump into the slightly deeper side, and then bring it back to the lighter side, because this might be slightly above most people's head, on the semantics of the coin itself. So Mr. Costa, if you can please explain so if there's any cryptocurrency fanatics out there, you're going to enjoy this next few minutes. Maybe tell us protocols, all of that, like over our head type of information. What are we going to do?
Okay, yes, of course. So it's let me just get my thoughts together.
Okay, while he gets his thoughts together, if you guys would be so kind, go to the description below this podcast. There's a link to our website, to the light paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And please go and read through the light paper, and maybe let us know what you think about it.
And if there are any
Give us some
questions,
feedback.
yes,
Give us questions, because we don't know whether we're explaining it well enough.
Do you understand it?
Yes. Do you actually understand what you're reading?
So I guess in a nutshell, I mean, it can all sound a lot very, very complicated, and we don't want to be in a position where we're just trying to sound smart or whatever. At the end of the day, the things can be fundamentally be explained quite simply, but the technology that is behind it all is what gets a bit more complicated. So at the end of the day, with what we want to do with TCC is, in a nutshell, just provide value to the ecosystem.
Through community.
Yes,
Yeah.
through community, and we are leveraging blockchain technology. So Mr. Theo was busy talking about protocols and all of that. So what he means by that is just blockchain technology as a whole. We want to build TCC, and we are busy building TCC just for a means of people for accessibility. That's the beautiful thing about this new financial revolution that is busy going on, and why I love it so much is because it gives accessibility to everyone.
Literally.
Currently, financial markets, there's a lot of barriers to entry, and too much strings that are pulled that not a lot of the people at the bottom can leverage or control. And what we want to do through this is give everyone the same amount of power, in a nutshell. Maybe you could just enlighten on some of the questions that some people had. I know you sent it to a bunch of people, the light paper, to some people that you respect their opinions on, that not are necessarily into blockchain technology but had some questions around it. Was there any questions that stood out to you or not really?
Oh, most definitely. Some of the questions that definitely stood out was how does the coffee coin add value to the coffee ecosystem? So maybe if you can give us some explanation around exactly how it works, and of course how it can provide value on an international standard through something as simple as cryptocurrency. Because I
Yes,
know
yeah.
a lot of people don't really understand cryptocurrency and how it works.
Okay, yeah. So on an international standard, how it will work is that it will be tradable. So it will be a tradable means of exchange that people are able to use. But this is not being funded by any single central authority or government, but it's being funded by the community. So at the end of the day, we are all building a community that will then benefit our space, and we are benefiting one another. There's a lot of ventures that we want to go into within the cryptocurrency space. I mean, you hear a lot of buzzwords like NFTs, DAOs, and we want to incorporate all of that technology fundamentally. Right now, there's a lot of buzz around it, and it's a lot of nonsense, if I must be honest. But what we're trying to build around TCC is the community base around all of it. So how it will benefit people is that we'll just give them a means to access the financial markets, but through the community that we are building. So instead of farmers or people working within the system having to rely on maybe big organizations or banks
Or local banks, yes.
to fund them, they will be able to be funded by the community. Protocols like DeFi, decentralized applications, stuff like that. Also, we want to a means to solidify information on the blockchain so that it can't be tampered with. All of the stuff, bringing everything to a higher standard. But at the end of the day, finances is what's going to make all of this possible. And at the end of the day, money is what will buy these people, I would say, their peace of mind and their freedom, so that they can continue doing what they love without the hindrance of, finances always. Yes.
Well, and I love the fact that you're obviously just explaining kind of what kind of the projects and what the some of the, I want to say, um, cliffs of the crypto space is, but I think that especially if you're a coffee drinker, you're passionate about the coffee environment, but you're not really into the crypto space. It sounds like Kryptonese.
Yes.
Like we're
Exactly.
speaking
Yes,
a
yes, yes.
specific language. So
Yes.
to ask a question that I hope seems like it adds value. If I had to then go and I was a coffee farmer, how would this ecosystem, this coin, this space, for me practically, how would it improve and allow me to obviously better the coffee that I have, taking the year or 2 or 3 that it'll take to improve the coffee and
Process,
kind of
yes.
get that out without wondering, are my kids gonna have shoes to wear? Are they gonna have a roof to sleep under? Am I gonna be able to pay pickers a proper wage so they can have their life? So
Of course.
how is this gonna look practically in the coffee space?
Okay. No, that's perfect. No, that's a fantastic question.
The question is well stated.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So what will happen is, like, let's say if we have to put a scenario into place. So we are going to do a crowdfunding
Yes.
for TCC, the coin itself, and there will be initial startup liquidity for whatever benefit or project that we want to ensue. Like, for example, with any given farm,
Yeah.
like how we're working with Impenjati, for example. So what would happen is that then we would then be able to talk with the roasters. We would be able to talk with importers, with exporters, and we could say, these are the benefits that we will be able to incentivize you with using
Yes.
TCC. So then if they would have to say yes, like Mr. Theo actually gave a great example of how it could use the one day when we were discussing it, is how you could go to someone and then say, okay, I will be able to buy your harvest for like your next a half or your full harvest for the next year if you use TCC. So then what that will do is that everyone that is then incentivized within that pool, all of that money that was then raised, will then be able to go to the farm, and then the farmer will be able to sell his crop or his harvest to the roaster that then had that how do you say, relationship with him. And that's where we want to go for. So obviously in the beginning it's going to be very small scale,
Yeah.
because it's the community that we want to get off the bat.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, TCC will be able to be used as a means of exchange within the coffee ecosystem,
Yes.
so that we no longer have to rely on stock market prices.
Yeah.
That we no longer have to rely on bigger, organized, and centralized authorities in order to regulate this ecosystem.
Okay.
And that's a very, very well stated point there that I just want to break in on quickly, so don't lose your thought of your train of thought.
Of course.
But on that specific note, right now in the world in 2022, we have this huge supply and demand issue when it comes to coffee.
Yeah.
And so because of the fact that there's a supply and demand issue, the prices have been spiking through the roof because there's some frost that came down in Brazil, in South America, for the first time in like 100 years. And thousands upon thousands of farms lost so many acres of their plantations.
Yeah.
And so because all of a sudden now there's a scarcity on coffee, the stock exchange feels that, if there's less available, we need to be pushing the price. Now, importers and roasters and coffee shops we can use South Africa as an example because we live here. So if you're in the rest of the world and you can add value, please do so.
Yeah.
But we're struggling to get coffee at an affordable price to be able to sell a quality coffee to our clients, giving them value. So now all of a sudden we have to uplift our prices as a cappuccino or a cafe latte or an espresso. And then the clients are like, why are you guys pushing your coffee prices so much? We can't afford to buy this anymore. And the sad thing is, it's not that we're pushing our prices, we're just upping our prices to hold to what the international stock exchange is doing.
Yeah.
And so now we're sitting in a position where we're selling our coffee for more, making nothing, which means I can't give my roaster more, which means he can't give the importer more, which means they can't give the processor or the farmer more, because the stock exchange is stealing everything. And so the whole idea behind the coin is to kind of disattach from
So decentralized.
to go decentralized from this current ecosystem and put the power back into the coffee drinker's hand to actually look after the farmer and everybody in between.
Yes,
Okay.
So
like what you're saying, like the question that you're asking, it's like it's almost like the end goal already. Right now. It will be very difficult initially to do something like that. But at the end of the day, we need to provide value initially with our crowdfunding.
Okay.
So what we want to do then is as the coffee ecosystem then expands, there'll be speculation around the coin, as all free markets do have.
Yes.
So this will incentivize people to buy it, to sell it. But what we want to do is end up letting people trade around it.
So and just to focus on the coffee space a little bit before we obviously go to the whole crypto part, am I understanding you correctly that if, let's say for example, I'm a coffee farmer, obviously we're going to have people who are passionate about the project buy into it because it's their passion, which obviously then gives us some amount of finances to work with which to empower farms, with which to empower processors, with which to obviously better the lives of farmers. So we go to a farmer, we say, listen, we buy your harvest for the next 5 years. And if you get 150% yield on it, then we'll buy the rest of the 50% or the rest of the growth at this amount of money, but we'll pay you in TC coin or the coffee coin, which can then be traded if they wanted to for a local currency.
Yes,
correct.
It's not just that it's now this airy fairy on the cloud thing.
actually straight into US dollars.
Yes.
They can immediately sell it for US dollars, take the US dollars and actually do something on the farmers.
Yes, exactly. So it would also depend on the collateral of the pool that you're exchanging from. Obviously.
Correct.
Yes.
So, but obviously now big picture. So if I can then, so even if, and obviously from what I'm hearing is that we want to get the whole coffee space, not the farmer or not the roaster or not the end consumer. We want to get the whole coffee space to kind of get to a point where you can buy a cup of coffee in TCC, or you can, which we then pull, let's say for example, even fertilizer companies in their local area, even if they then don't buy into the project, the farmer can go, you can trade it for USD, for US dollars, and then he can go and he can buy the necessary things to uplift his farm and grow better coffee. So even if the guy he needs to buy from doesn't buy into the program, he can actually change it for a physical value that this person wants. And then if a processor is bought into TCC, or even let's say for example pesticide company or a fertilizer company is actually bought into TCC.
Sorry, just to add, like somebody like Yara. Yara is a
Yes.
big
Fertilizer company. Yeah.
nutrition basically
Yeah.
for
They do soil
agriculture.
nutrition.
Yeah,
Yes.
for agriculture. So for somebody like them,
Yeah.
if they so that's just to give them an example.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, no.
For and I think they are a good company to actually buy into.
Yeah.
For if they are willing to, but
Yeah.
they are doing a lot for the coffee community.
So,
But sorry
so
to interrupt.
it's not just going to be this thing that's ones and zeros that is now kind of there, and you're telling them, listen, I'm giving you, let's say, 500,000 TCC, and you sell a value to them that they can't physically use, and now they can't buy food, they can't buy bread, they can't buy obviously whatever, and then maintain a lifestyle.
Yeah.
If needed to, they can actually trade that for
Yes.
physical
100%,
value,
yes.
but we want to keep that obviously in the space. So, am I understanding that?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
But the beautiful thing about this one per se is that it's not like it's just going to be any single cryptocurrency
Yeah.
that is then pegged to any sort of value and
Yes.
does nothing else. This will be like a yield generating business almost,
Yeah.
but there'll be no controller of it. So no one will be able to pull out any money from it without a general consensus from the community.
Yeah.
So that's where this is different. So it will be, it won't just fall down within value.
Yeah.
Because it's generating revenue like a business does.
Yeah.
So it's not like stagnant or decreasing. It's actually increasing within value
So-
all the time. So the farmers will always have liquidity to access.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they need to be incentivized to use the coin as well
Yeah.
to, let's say, buy things in their local how do I say, communities, empowering those people, but they also need to eventually change it into a given currency so that they can live, so that they can pay their people.
Yes.
So does that answer your question?
I think that answers the question really well. And obviously, if you guys have more questions on this specifically, I mean, we can go on for 5 hours just with regards to this.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that was a very good summary, just even because I don't necessarily know nearly as much about the crypto space as you do. But to just kind of get a physical or a practical perspective of what we're trying to do.
Of course, yes, yeah.
And then I know obviously we want to go into a little bit of a different part on what a DAO would be obviously, or how we could then influence the NFT space into doing, for example, a unique, which all NFTs are obviously are chemics.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of bringing people to unique brewing methods, bringing them to a different way of making coffee,
Perspective,
and
yes.
using obviously the revenue that is gained. Obviously, giving the artists who contributed to this, obviously they make what they need to make, but putting that back into the ecosystem
Yes,
to
of course,
empower
yes.
them, not going like, oh, we're going to start this project, put it into our pockets, but pushing it back into the system to
Yes, yeah.
create a better, richer coffee environment.
100%. And then approaching, like coffee shops, different roasters, processors, and giving them the ability to buy into this project so that it can benefit them down the line. Because at the end of the day, we all need to work with it within the system. It's not like that we're trying to get rich.
Yeah.
We are trying to pull everyone together so that we can build a stronger community, build a higher standard, build everyone from us that is working in the shops, serving the clients, all the way back to the farmers.
Now,
Cool.
just on that,
Yeah.
because you mentioned this is not a point of trying to enrich ourselves. In actual fact, just to throw it out there, the reason why we're deciding to go with a DAO is to involve the community in such a way that we actually have absolutely no say. So
Yes.
just maybe for the information out there, once we do get the ball rolling, once the community is big enough and we can actually get enough people that it's behind this, that it actually starts to success and not start to fail. We will be registering this as an NGO, a non-governmental organization internationally, where we will not have any say on it, but
Yes.
the say will actually belong to the DAO. Now, maybe just explain a bit what the DAO means.
Yes.
Because Christian brought it up, just so that maybe our listeners can have a better understanding about how they actually have a say in a company that they had nothing to do when it started.
Yes, yeah. So what the DAO is in a nutshell is just an acronym for a decentralized autonomous organization, which is a fancy way of just giving voting power to shareholders of any given protocol. So it's encoded within the system that should you own a certain share of TCC, you'll then be able to have voting power to whatever request is then made. So let us just say we have a project on Mpenjati farm, just for example.
Right.
We
Yes.
want to build a housing for a certain group of people so that their standard of living can increase.
Yeah.
We'll then say we have a budget of 1 million rand in order to build 20 RDP houses. We will then put that on as a request, and then depending on the vote from all the people that hold it, not the owners, but the people that hold it.
So just a question. So when you say people that hold it, so that's everybody that has TCC,
everyone that has TCC,
in a crypto wallet.
yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because they contributed to the ecosystem
Yeah.
and the crowdfunding, they'll
Yeah.
then be able to have a say on what happens with the funds
Okay.
from there on. It won't be from ours and
Yeah.
from us, and you'll be able to say to which account it goes to, and everything is then monitored through the blockchain. That's the beautiful thing about it, is that it's completely
Okay,
transparent.
so just a question. So if I have only one TCC, holding one TCC, I also have a vote.
Of
You
course,
also
yes,
have voting
you also
power,
have
yes.
So
voting
it's
power.
you don't have to have a certain amount
No,
or so
no, no.
to
You will
be,
have voting power
Okay.
within your rights.
and
100%.
that's really cool, because then anybody that holds
Has contributed.
and has
Yes, yeah.
put in some, even if it's just 5 rand,
Mm.
Right.
they have a say in where the funds go, and
100%.
what's happening with the funds.
Yes.
And now all of a
That's
sudden
awesome.
you've got a community in
Yeah.
coffee that everybody has a say, even though you've never been to a country, you've never been
Yeah.
to a farm, but you tasted their coffee once, or you heard someone else talk about their coffee.
Mm.
You can actually now have a say in making helping them make
Yeah.
their coffee better
Yeah.
without being involved in it, literally, in a physical way ever.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And like, this is just surface level of what we've discussed.
Yes.
There's so much that we want to do within the space, and how big we want to go from the type of data that we want to log onto
Yeah.
the blockchain. And the beautiful thing why we are using blockchain is that everything is transparent. I mean, there's nothing
Yes.
that we can then alter. There's nothing that we can jippo. There's no corruption.
Yes.
That is why we're moving into that state, because
And saying us, meaning anyone out there in
Yeah.
the world. So
Yeah.
one farm picks his coffee and he puts it through this beautiful process to create value inside a good quality cup of coffee. It
Yes.
ends up with at the cupping table, and the cupping table go, ooh, this coffee is amazing. We really want to buy this for a cheaper price. Then their scores on the Q grading actually has to fall in line with the Q grading of the farm itself. You can't now score it less so you can get a better price.
Yes.
The blockchain will actually reveal that these two numbers don't stand in line, which means it will fail on that block, and we actually have to redo all of the Q grading on it, giving it such beautiful transparency from the farm all the way to the cup, that when you buy a packet of coffee, you're able to see where it came from, how high it grew, how many people were involved picking it, what was the bricks levels, and that's just some deep sense of coffee.
But I like the fact that you just went that, because that's the next question that I wanted to ask.
Yes.
Especially because we're talking about how it's going to obviously incentivize people that obviously own it. They're going
Yes.
to have voting power, and we're going to enrich the community. And I wanted to go about, okay, so how does this then remove power from the stock market to dictate the price of coffee? And you went to the Q graders,
Right,
which
the Q grade is the
Yeah.
standard.
yes, which is
Yes.
obviously somebody who is trained to notice, to identify defects, and then determine the quality of coffee. Very much like a wine sommelier.
Right.
Not obviously knowing that there are quite a few differences between the sommelier industry and the Q grading industry, but then a
They got
Q
the same
grader,
job.
yes, they have a similar job. Whereas in coffee we have a Q grader and that's it. And in the sommelier world there are quite a few different levels and some semantics. But
And the whole idea, and sorry for jumping in, would be kind of to push the coffee industry. Again, I just want to mention that it's the second largest legal trading commodity in the world.
yes,
Also the second largest consumed beverage in the world.
yes,
But it has less respect than water that comes from a tap. And so we need to kind of build the education and bring the education to the forefront to actually realize that coffee is this is not looking down on anything or wanting to degrade anything, but it's actually the higher point than wine is. Yet no one knows this. We go out to wine tastings and we pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for bottles of wine, going, "Ooh, this is so fantastic." And tomorrow morning we wake up and we have a cappuccino or an espresso, not even knowing what we're drinking. Yet it's higher, or it's more popular in the world than wine is.
Yeah.
And you can drink it all day, not just at night, because that would be weird if you drink wine all day. But I guess you could.
Cape Town kind of differ, but
Hashtag day drinking. And I think the fact that bringing the Q graders into this, so from what I'm understanding from our conversations, and obviously a bunch of conversations that we've had, that a Q grader obviously then goes and grades it and says, okay, this is an 87-point red bourbon natural process from the Bao processing plant in the Bukoyu region in Rwanda.
Right.
Which then this is attributed to say, okay, this will be in dollar value, let's say X dollars per kg or per pound, and then in TCC will be Y in this value.
Well, yes and no. But actually, so let's say the commodity price for coffee is X.
Yes.
Now, because it went through the Q grading standard and it is actually tracked or processed on the blockchain, now it adds a value to the coffee according to the amount of work that the processor and the farmer actually put into the coffee.
Yes.
So now it uplifts. Now it's not just an X, it's an X plus 12 or 15 or 20%,
and I think
on top of the price.
That's what I was trying to say without the beautiful phrasing that you just used.
No worries.
So taking then X plus 20 or 3X, 7X, 10X, whatever.
Right. The value of the coffee.
Yeah.
Value of the coffee. Taking into consideration the time and the effort and the work and everything that went into it, which we don't normally.
No,
It's
we
the
don't.
normal
Because
coffee
we don't know
industry.
the traceability.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So creating now a traceability, saying that this amount of people were involved. It was picked at this color. It was picked. This is how much we picked. This is what the cherries weighed. This is what the after picking. This is the time that went in. This is the amount of finances put into a single tree. Kind of then obviously, and this is the process. This was the loss of harvest to give you a better
quality.
product, which then creates almost the proof of work, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much. It's a good one.
I hope that was the correct way to use that phrase.
That's a perfect way.
So to give you the proof of what it took to create this quality, thereby on the blockchain, giving it the value so now that no one can go and say, okay, but I'm only willing to give you 30% of what you put into this coffee because I want to touch my pockets.
Right.
And an end consumer can then go by using obviously a few things that we will be discussing at a later point, but using, for example, a QR code that is created, it's put on the packet, you scan it, and it not only shows you where it's from, but it shows you who was involved,
how many people were involved,
how many people were not, what it took to create that specific cup,
and all of that on the blockchain, which means no one can manipulate or change it.
And the thing is that you, as a person that scanned that packet and see the whole process, when you really enjoy this and understand the value of this coffee, you can go, like, we will go deeper into this, but then you can go say, listen, I want to speak to this farmer, and I want to send him a message to say thank you for what you've did. It's an amazing coffee, and here's a contribution.
Contribute actually back to the farmer directly.
I really enjoy it so much that I want to contribute to you personally, and not to whoever, to you personally.
And not the guy who pocketed, whatever he pocketed, but actually straight back to the farmer.
And I like that because that brings us to a point that we've been discussing in every single episode before this one, but it brings us to the connection point. We've been talking about coffee connects people,
bringing the community together.
So now we're connecting an end consumer in Pretoria, Gauteng, South Africa, to a farmer in Colombia.
Right. Or in even a rural area, like let's go to like northern Ethiopia. This small little farmer who's got 300 trees in his backyard, and that's his yearly living. Like he puts his whole life and his family, his kids, his mother-in-law is on the farm. on the plot farm, picking these coffees to try and create this beautiful coffee that can actually provide income for them to live on for a year. Like, and that brings value, and now all of a sudden you can contribute back to them.
And I think also to just gain this to hold this perspective, that the purpose of this would be to use the analogy to teach them how to fish. So not to just give them a fish, but to teach them how to fish. So we provide, from what I'm understanding, TCC then provides them the ability to sustain living, not just surviving, but actually to live, which means the focus on quality will be better. We'll have a better quality coffee, even if that means a smaller harvest. We'll have a better quality coffee, which is then given the appropriate value, which obviously then empowers the farmer to focus on bettering the farm, bettering the coffee, bettering even the community that they are in. So if an environment is losing pickers because somebody needs to look after the kids because there's no school, or we have an extremely large percentage of illiterate people in an area.
Correct.
We can empower that community so that we have passionate, educated, uplifted people in the coffee community.
100%.
Now, and through how would we do that would probably be the question. Sorry, Costa.
Yes,
right now, Sasa Sestic, World Barista Champion, has a foundation that he registered with, I think it's called Project Origin. So Project Origin is already a existing foundation out there doing exactly this. They've put up schools in Nicaragua, they've put up housing in Honduras, looking after the local community. So how do we, as you, the community, become involved in helping Project Origin to help put up more schools? How do you do that? Through this cryptocurrency protocol. You're able to send money directly to the foundation that you believe in, and because you want to support what they're doing, and you can send it internationally, and that's at a fraction of a cost.
That's the beautiful. That's the beauty of it, is the accessibility.
Right.
So, like the scenario that you gave earlier, like trying to give back to the farmer because you appreciate what you have. I mean, imagine trying to do that now with the current system we're in.
Swift would take forever.
And that's if they even have banking services where they are. Right. So if I to send money now to Colombia, depending on their banking services and the region and the person specifically, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't even know if your money will get to the person that you are hoping to bless. But with blockchain technology, I mean, all you need is a device that is maybe older than 2015 or 2012 and an internet
I'm sure
connection.
there's phones older than that they can, but
and an internet connection, and there you are able to access this massive financial market.
Communicate, send them funds, support them locally.
And it could be to the lowest level even.
Right.
And the thing is, when you say like they need phones and internet, we can also get people that does that in that area.
The DAO. Exactly. We decide we're gonna send out 1 million phones to small coffee farmers that don't have nothing.
Teach them how to use it.
Or put up satellite or internet towers in areas in rural areas that don't have. Then we go on the DAO. We create a proposal saying we would like to support this local coffee region that has nothing. They don't have cell phones, they don't have cell phone towers. Let's put a certain amount of money together, liquidity together, and let's build it for them. 100%. And then all of us go out and we vote on this, and we say, okay, well, not right now, let's give it 5 months and then we go on it. Or let's put it together, we send the funds through to a local area, and we fund, we as the community fund the local internet provider or the local provider to actually go out, build it, distribute the stuff, the cell phones or whatever out, and give them opportunity that they've never had before in their life, because the local area is too poor, too rural to actually afford to have it.
Well, eventually Elon Musk will finish that with Starlink.
With Starlink. Yesterday 47 satellites went up going out into space, so he's really doing a good job
there.
You'll
be in the middle of the ocean and still get tops internet.
Now also knowing that there are going to be some logistical challenges.
Always.
We're going to have growth pains, we're going to have TV pains, and it's not going to be just a Porsche hitting the highway and it goes. Which is where I think the community, the caffeine community, gets into helping to build this.
Right.
Definitely.
That passion, that time, that effort. And not everyone has time necessarily, but some people still want to get involved. They obviously have a monetary contribution.
Of course.
So we're gonna, I think, see and depend on a lot of people, not to enrich us, but to enrich the environment and to help us to kind of build towards that.
Yes.
Because TCC then would be the child, and the community would be the village that raises it.
Of course.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That will
Which
then
brings
eventually
us-
grow up and take care of everyone else.
Yes.
Yeah. Which brings us back to where we started. It's not our dream.
Yes.
We know so many people out there that has the same dream.
Yeah.
We're now just putting the spokes onto this bicycle wheel. We need the tire, we need the tubes, we need the
Yes.
bicycle
And
that it
comes
connects
from,
to.
and that comes from you guys.
And that is the coffee community. It's the guys out there that drive to their local coffee shop and they buy that single origin imported one bag of coffee,
Yeah.
because that's all that coffee farmer had that was produced and processed to this unique flavor. And you drive back there every single 2 weeks until that one bag is finished, because you love it so much and you wish you could do more to support that local farmer. And now this would give all of us the opportunity to actually do that.
Yeah.
100% yes.
Yeah,
No.
so
Yeah, I think
I think without trying to pull it out too long and go
Yes.
too deep into
Because
information.
we have a mouthful.
Yeah,
of
and,
information.
and,
Oh,
and
for
we,
sure.
And we can go deeper into certain aspects.
Especially
Yeah,
if there's
obviously-
more questions given.
Yes.
I mean, they can
Yes.
obviously go and read the light paper.
Yeah, please give us some feedback on
the light paper, and then obviously the white paper is also being developed.
Yes, that's a
currently.
long, growing and journeyful project.
Yeah, at the end of the day,
building
I mean,
a white paper.
all of those intricacies, the everyday person is not necessarily going to be bothered with it. But there will be people that we will go to that will audit us, and they will see that we are legit.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there are any questions, I mean, just send them through. I'm definitely willing to answer any questions but anything pertaining to blockchain technology. I hope I can answer it.
And it's nice and
And-
easy. It's a straight up DM on Instagram.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's just we want you guys to understand why we want to build this community.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we want to do this. It's for you guys to join us to give the coffee ecosystem better
For
value.
this big vision.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we can't do it on our own.
No.
So
No.
That's why we want to support people like Aga and
Yes.
Sasa and Matthew Perger. He really cares about quality in coffee.
Yes.
And he puts his money into it.
Yeah.
Even just the fellow, coffee shop. We want to empower everyone that is within the space.
Yes.
So yeah, very excited.
yeah, it's
Most
gonna be
definitely.
awesome.
Yeah.
So please let us know, guys, if there's any questions. Maybe something we can explain slightly more in depth in other podcasts. And if you, I think this would probably be the shout out, if you're out there and you feel this is kind of what you've always thought of, but you had no idea how you would want to do this, please remember, we're just the front or the back wheel of this complete thing.
Yeah.
We need you. So please get in contact. Let's get you on what we're doing, and you formulate your part of it.
Yes.
And let's push it out and bring a better standard to coffee in the world that is fair towards the producers or the growers of the coffee, and not just to the people sitting in their offices or standing in Wall Street trying to take all of the money that's supposed to look after a whole village.
Yeah.
In the world. So give us a shout. We want to take hands. We want to grow this thing up and up and up until it's so big that none of us feel like we've actually put anything into it.
Yes.
Yeah, go and check us on Instagram. Follow us. Help us to get content out there.
Yeah.
It's not for us. It's not for the page. It's for the community. And Instagram, Twitter. Go check out our website. And speak to us on the platforms that you can. So.
Yeah, and if you're out there and you love podcasting and you're going out and interviewing coffee shops all the time for whatever purpose, we would love to redistribute your content.
The bloggers.
To bring publicity, to your local coffee shop and to you. This is not about us. It's about the community and the people that care about it.
Definitely.
Please.
But guys, thank you for joining us for this light conversation on the light paper. Obviously, this is very. We talked about a lot of things, a lot of kryptonese, a lot of caffeinese, but I gotta coin these terms. But guys, if you have any questions, please obviously ask. If you guys have anything to contribute, do. And we are very excited for you to join us on the next episode.
Yes.
So there you go.
And find
Your happy place
In every
single
Cup.
Woo! Chat to you guys next episode.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.